Welcome to the Fatherhood Fitness Podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Pluff. Each week, we will cover various topics that dads struggle with in their fitness journey. I'll give you actionable steps that you can apply right away, not only to take back control of your own health, but so you're able to be a better example for your kids too. Welcome in to this week's episode of the podcast. I'm Anthony Pluff. This is the place where busy dads learn how to lose weight, build strength, and boost their energy and confidence so they can lead their family well. Today, we're tackling something that every dad runs into at some point. How to get your family on board with healthy eating without turning mealtime into a power struggle. If you've ever felt like you're fighting a losing battle at the dinner table, this episode is for you. Now, forcing healthy habits rarely works. Probably never, right? You don't win your family over with lectures, ultimatums, things like that. You win them over by making small changes that's actually going to fit into their life long term. And so your family doesn't need a nutrition lecture. I mean, you could try it, but it's probably not going to go very well. What they need to see is you making better choices. If your kids see you, grabbing fruit for a snack, drinking water, filling your plate with, protein and veggies, that's going to stick. Kids copy what they see far more than what they hear. How many times have you told them to do something and they ignored you, right? But when they repeat that one phrase you said under your breath in the car, they're always watching you. And this doesn't just go, when this comes to nutrition, when this comes to, making, you're trying to make some healthier choices. This doesn't just go for kids, right? This goes for your spouse too. Just because you're ready to make some changes, just because you're ready to feel, healthier, to feel a little bit better, doesn't mean everybody in your family is right now. And that's okay, right? Everybody has to go along, but we don't want to force them. I know as dads, we want to be leaders of the family, but we also have to become someone. We also have to be someone who is worth following, right? And so if we have gone so long, not really, leading in this way, it's going to take some time. And right now, maybe your wife hasn't completely bought into this change that you're trying to make either, because maybe you've tried some other diets in the past. Maybe you've tried to eat healthier. Maybe you've done some things for a couple of weeks and it didn't last. Now you're trying to do something again. You can't expect her to just jump on board right away, right? Kids are going to fight change when they feel like it's being forced on them, and your spouse might as well, right? If you've been eating a certain way for a very long time, you have certain traditions, you have norms, habits that you've been following. Changing them overnight is probably not going to be a good idea, and it's probably not going to be received very well. But when everyone kind of gets a say in the meals, everything can kind of shift there, right? Take your kids to the grocery store, let them pick out a fruit or vegetable they want to try. We used to do this. We still do this with my kids. We love going. We go grocery shopping about every 2 weeks. We always bring the kids. Occasionally we'll do the grocery pickup, but we've really enjoyed going to Aldi. We can get a lot of great things there, lots of different fruits, vegetables, and we go up and down the aisles. Aldi seems to be a little less overwhelming than some other grocery stores, and so we're going down the aisles. We let the kids pick out fruits and vegetables. We started doing this with my son when he was like less than a year old. We see kind of a fun fruit at the store, some of the ones that have like spikes on them and stuff. We let him try it, bring it home. Let your kids help, prep meals. My wife has done a really great job at, letting the kids have a say in, the meal planning. So each week, every time we go to the grocery store, they get to choose one of the meals. Right? That could be like spaghetti and meatballs. That could be something, but they get a say in it. And this is what this has allowed our family to do is our kids are very willing to try things, right? Our rule is always, you can't say you don't like something until you've tried it. And so if our kids, we put something on the table they haven't had before, maybe maybe my daughter chose something from the grocery store and my son's never had it before he can say I don't like it, he has to try it. If he tries it, still doesn't like it, then he doesn't have to eat it. That's our rule. That has worked really well for us, and it's allowed our kids to explore tons of new foods. They may find something like, hey, I actually like this. But let your kids help prep meals. Even if it's just stirring something, sprinkling cheese on things. Like when they've had a hand in making it, they're more likely to actually eat it. So something else that can help, kind of make these changes gradual is just making small swaps, not completely just overhauling everything, right? You don't need to ban pizza night. We have pizza night every single week. And instead, you could maybe switch up what you're getting, switch up the size of it, maybe the toppings, maybe you could add some things, add some vegetables things. You could order a side salad, that way you're having pizza and salad, right? Maybe you make a homemade pizza with you have a little bit more control of what's going on it, right? If you're normally getting, like, maybe you're getting a pizza and a large soda, one of the deals that Pizza Hut, Papa John's, something like that does, you could swap that out, maybe sparkling water, you could add a little splash of juice or something, like simple swaps, right? But still something that's enjoyable for them. The little changes here over time will add up, right? And they don't trigger that resistance of completely changing the entire kitchen, completely changing the entire pantry. And so small swaps can definitely help as well. And one thing that I think is extremely important, and this is not just, well, obviously this comes down to when you're trying to eat healthier, but this goes for you as well. Something I talk a lot about is that try your best not to label foods as good or bad. And so we don't want to talk about, like, I was eating this way, this food's so bad, this is junk food, all this stuff, because it creates a negative mindset around food. And labeling foods as good or bad, it's going to backfire, because now it starts to become like, oh, I can't, you feel guilty for eating Oreo. You should never feel guilty for eating Oreos. You're making a choice. They're a food. Are they the most nutritious option? No. And so, but there's something, what we like to call, with my kids, we call them sometimes food. And so instead of talking about food's good or bad, you can talk about how the food helps their body. Like, protein makes you stronger, veggies help give vitamins and nutrients to your body, water can help you keep you from getting headaches, right? You're fueling your body. So frame food in terms of what it does for them, not whether or not it's allowed, right? Some foods, it's on a continuum. I like to think of it on a continuum. Some foods are more nutritious for you. Some foods are less nutritious for you. We want to fill the majority of our foods with more nutritious food. And so that's why my wife and I have adopted the term sometimes food. So my kids know when we have, certain snacks, desserts, and things like that, this is a sometimes food. We're not having it every single day. And with all of this, the most important thing is be patient. And be consistent. Changing family habits takes time, and especially when you first start, expect some pushback. If you've been eating the same way, maybe your kids are older, they've been eating the same way for 10, 15 years, it's going to take some time to make these changes, right? And on yourself, give yourself some grace too. You're trying to make changes, you're getting pushback, it's making it a lot harder. If you've been eating the same way for 30, 40, 50 years, it's probably going to take a little bit of time before you're able to fully make these changes to it and be confident in the changes that you're making. But if you stay consistent and you keep kind of the overall vibe positive, it will catch on. Your kids might roll their eyes at the beginning, but down the road they'll thank you for setting the foundation. And so the biggest takeaway is getting your family on board with healthy eating doesn't mean you have to force them into a new diet, especially you don't have to make these all at once. It simply means leading by example, giving them a voice, allowing them some decision, some ownership here, making some small swaps, keeping the language positive, right? Not talking good or bad, and then playing the long game. Because the consistency over all this, the long-term results is really what we're looking for here. So thank you so much for joining me on this week's episode. If it hit home with you, share this with another dad. Leave a comment. Please leave a review if you feel the show deserves it. And as always, if you're ready to take control of your health and lead your family well, and you're looking for some one-on-one support, you can find the link in the comments to book a game plan call. It'll be in the show notes. So thank you so much for joining today. We'll see you on the next episode. That concludes this episode of the Fatherhood Fitness Podcast. Thank you for those of you who took time out of your busy schedules to listen. If you have any questions or comments or an idea for a topic for a future episode, please feel free to reach out, and I'd love to hear from you.